Benjamin feels like he's getting nowhere with his music. 8 months ago, he upgraded his laptop, bought a new interface, downloaded Ableton Live, and made his first song. He continued learning how to produce music and finally started finishing tracks. He made his first few tracks and found the confidence to make some cover art on Canva and then post those tracks to YouTube. He checks the video views day and night, hoping for some traction and interaction from other music makers, even just some positive feedback on all his hard work. After a week of waiting and 3 views later, a comment pops up on his notifications and it simply reads, "Thanks for butchering the song." He feels all the effort he's putting in is getting him nowhere and it's actually getting him more hate. The realization slowly hits him that he might not be all that great at making music after all, even after all this time and money invested. But there's a solution. What if there are 3 production mistakes hidden in plain sight that everybody makes when they're just starting out? And what if fixing those mistakes cuts out years of trial and error and gets you closer to your goal of creating great sounding music? In order to first understand what is going wrong with Benjamin's music, we have to break down his process. So let's just have a look at the stems that he sent me in Ableton. Can anybody tell me what's wrong with this? Look closely. My brain has to be a flipping supercomputer to understand what is happening here. Like, there are so many fragmented parts. The biggest mistake that I see beginners make is that they avoid organizing their sessions after they've recorded their song. Oh my goodness, this is gonna take a while. Okay, so I've done some organizing, obviously, so let's keep an open mind and let's just listen to the track and let's see some of the processing that Benjamin has done on this.
I am finding you.
Okay, something sounds really off. I'm just looking. Oh my goodness. I see this so often, even in the live sound engineering context as well, where people EQ like a madman. Like, look, you're not trying to restructure somebody's face here. Like, you're not using EQ as plastic surgery. Like, it's a very subtle effect. Okay, so he's essentially accentuated everything and cut out everything. Look, let's just stop. This is so common. I see this all the time, and I was guilty of this. In fact, one of the first albums that I made in university, I was so guilty of this. Like, I was like, I just need to accentuate the high end of the vocal and it's gonna make it cut through the mix. Yeah, maybe in an alternate reality.
You're taking me to the end.
Okay, so I'm just listening to the vocal here, but it sounds really washed out. Oh my goodness, no. Okay, so again, it's another one of those things where unless you know about sends, you don't know whether you should use them. So a lot of people, when they first start out making music, they just don't understand that sends are actually a thing. I remember starting actually a long time ago. My first DAW was actually PreSonus Studio One, and essentially when you use that DAW, you have to set up the send yourself. So you have to first understand what sends are, and then you have to set up the send and return channel almost like as a separate channel, and then put the reverb on it. It's a lot more complicated. At least in Ableton, it's there for us that we can just have there to use. But like, oh my goodness, like putting reverb on a channel, yes, that's fine, like 100%. Sometimes you need it in sound design, right? But when you're first starting out mixing your songs and doing like your post-production, let's say you've recorded your song, right? Just stick to the basics. Sends and returns are fine, okay? Then when you start to get good using those, maybe you can start experimenting with sound design. And talking of sound design, so something just isn't working here with this kick. Let's have a listen. Okay, so this bonus mistake is very straightforward. Sometimes the initial sound that you chose, potentially at the start of the recording session, no longer fits the vibe. Or at least there is a better sound that you can actually use. Change out some of your sounds sometimes and maybe do a bit of extra sound design. So for instance, with this sound here, I just put a reverb on a kick, right? There we go, it seems to work much better.
In the sunshine,
So sound selection is actually really important in music production, arguably more important than the processing itself. You can't really process a bad sound to get it sounding good unless you're someone like Mr. Bill or Andrew Huang. So in light of that, if you want great sounding drums at your fingertips, head over to the link in the description where you can download the Ultimate Drum Pack and have great sounding drums ready for your next song. Right, let's get the script up. Definitely don't script my videos. Come on now. Come on.